Artificial Intelligence weekly updates, Friday, October 24th. Lots of updates, and today I want to start with two quotes. One is, "We're summoning ghosts, not building animals." This is from interview with Andrej Karpathy, which I highly recommend to listen. Well, it's pretty lengthy, but it's great. And another, "Why Claude Skills is a big deal." It's actually a huge deal, and we'll be talking about it. So first, LM Arena Leaderboard. Surprisingly, almost no changes from last week. So you see, for coding, Claude is still the leader. Next is about Claude Agent Skills. So this is a huge deal. What we're talking about. In order to do something, like for example, you want to create a report. You want AI to generate the report. For this, AI will need data for the report, and it will also need some sort of prescription how to do the report, some instructions, some skills. And these skills may be like overview of how to do the report, and then specific skills for different parts of the report. So that's exactly what Claude now has. A year ago, they introduced MCP protocol, Model Context Protocol, to get the data. And now they introduced a new thing called skills, which is a description how to accomplish the task. And you can create multiple skills and you can put them in the Claude in your account, so that Claude will have no problem very fast using them as needed. Claude does it the following way. It creates a directory for each skill, and this directory consists of MD file, which they call skill.md, and this file has a header which is in YAML format, which basically has a name and description, and the rest is in Markdown format. Now, in the same directory, you can put more files, you can put subdirectories with more skills and more supportive documentation. Now, what you can do, you can tell Claude to use particular skill, or you can just advise it, well, use some appropriate skill and it will figure it out by itself. What I decided to do, it's a separate project, is to actually keep the skills locally so that Claude, because I don't want to use only Claude, I also want to use other models like Gemini, for example. But we'll talk about it. So skills can be used, now I'm talking about Claude skills. They can be used via API. They even created a separate special endpoint where you can create skills, manage the skills. And by the way, you don't have to create those files yourself. You can just advise Claude to generate it. So you can describe what skills you want, and it will generate the skill directory. So skills may also include executable code, like for example, Python. And then this Python code, Claude can run in virtual machines. So skill require the code execution tool beta, which provides secure environment where they can run, right? So this is amazing thing. What's good is, suppose that you have lots of report and a lot of different things you need to do, and for them you create a lot of different skills. Claude will only use the skills it needs for particular job. So skill is like an instrument, right? So you have a huge tool set now, you can build it, you can educate model. So you're not changing this cognitive core of the model. You're not tuning it. You just providing those skills and then tell it how it can choose the skills and then how it can use the skills. Yeah, this is great. So unlike OpenAI custom GPTs or Microsoft Copilot Studio, skills support executable code and composability across workflows. So here's a good short demo on how to use the skills in Claude. You can use same skills in different autonomous agents with separate context, or can use skills with agents in the same context. For example, Claude Code agents and sub-agents. Claude Code, just a reminder, it's a terminal. It's a command which you can use in the terminal to work with Claude, and it's very popular now. Okay, you can use skills not only for reporting or some kind of business logistics. You can use it, for example, in sciences. So here is an Anthropic paper, Claude for Life Sciences, which describes how to use skills for scientific work. And typical usage is literature reviews, protocol generation, bioinformatics, genomic data analysis, and so on, so on. Okay, next, Claude skills versus agents. So Claude skills, you can use them as you're talking to Claude back and forth, or you can use it from autonomous agents. You can use it in many different scenarios. When people talk about agents, people usually mean autonomous agents. So each agent kind of works separately using its own context, and they communicate with each other, right? So Claude skills make agent behavior predictable, transferable, governed, suited for production ready. In essence, multi-agent framework aim to simulate collaboration, while skills aim to codify expertise. So skills convert your agent into expert, right? So there is a skills command in Claude Code, and you can replicate those skills locally, as I already said. So you can create a directory with your skills, and skills maybe these empty files. You can use the same YAML header. Why YAML header is important? Because you can easily generate some sort of table of contents of all your skills. So for each skill you have header, so you have name and short description, and then ask model to select the skill it needs from this table of contents, from this index, and then it will only read the skills, or you only give it, like load the skills to the model, only the skills which are necessary. Because the total amount of skills, it may be millions of lines of code, of text or whatever, text code. But if you load only what you need, then you save on tokens, you save money, everything works faster. Okay, next. Emulate skills in Google. So as I told you, if you keep the skills locally, then you can work with any model, for example, with Google. So you can use models using API, you can send the skills to the model as needed, and here are examples on how you do it, like pieces of code, how you can organize your files in your local directories, and so on. Okay, this is the usual shameless plug for my channel. So we already surpassed 5,500 subscribers, and it's probably 250 or something videos. You can subscribe to YouTube, just search for my name, Lev Selector. The slides are uploaded to GitHub, and probably starting with next week, I will start putting them on Google Slides. I'll just open the directory because maybe it's more convenient for people. So if you're watching this, please pause and answer the pinned question, which I'll post there. I really appreciate your feedback. Okay, next, Claude Code for web. Well, now in the browser, you can use Claude Code, the same utility which you can use in the terminal. Now you can use in the browser. Well, the service is currently in research preview for Claude Pro subscribers, which is $20 a month, and Max subscribers, which is 100 to 200 a month. Accessible, like if you go there and go to Code tab. Well, I don't know. I don't need it because I use it on my laptop. OpenAI Atlas web browser. Well, every provider now have their own AI browser. So we have Google Chrome, we have, of course, Microsoft Bing, we have Perplexity, they have a browser, and now OpenAI also have a browser. And you see this picture from this browser, and on the right, you see this side panel where you talk to AI. So basically, each tab in the browser now becomes like a chat. And by the way, they have memory and they have cross vision between tabs. So you can come today and say, well, yesterday I was looking for this. Can you please open this tab? And it will open this tab and you can continue. And if you have this Pro account, then you can actually ask it to work as an agent for you. So do some actions, order some tickets, and whatever. So this is for Plus and Pro users. Well, people have mixed opinions about this browser versus Perplexity browser, whatever. Now it's a browser war. So browser today is definitely not just a search field. It's communication. Like each tab is now communication with history. Okay, next, Gemini URL context grounding via API. I don't know why they call it this way. Actually, all it is that now you can extract data from URL. So whether this URL points to HTML page, PDF, or images, and you can do it via API. So from your Python script, from API, you can give it a URL and ask it to summarize this page or extract something or do something. So can function standalone combined with Google search grounding and so on. Common applications include extracting key data points from articles, comparing information, and so on. Well, this feature is available as August 25, pricing based on added input tokens, and it works with latest models. So yeah, this is actually very good. Okay, next, vibe coding is dead. This is interesting articles. Well, there are multiple articles and YouTube videos on the subject. So basically what's happening, we saw huge growth of vibe coding. So vibe coding is when people who are not programmers, they go in browser to a website, let's say it's Lovable, which is a European company, and they ask it to create a website. Right, and it was a lot of interest, and some people converted to paid users, but then this traffic went down. So this original hype kind of subsided, and well, Lovable claims that the money they're getting actually grows because like their customer base of paying customers actually continues to grow. But now there is a new turn because Google now unveiled their own Vibe platform, and I don't know. This is a huge competition in the area of vibe coding. But you see, like Lovable traffic fell 50%, Bolt New 27%, and Vercel plummeted 64%. So it's really huge. Okay, next. You can run LLMs on Android phone, and there are multiple ways of doing this. Some of them are very fast, like for example, MNN Chat built by Alibaba MNN team. It uses the hardware like a neural processing unit and CPU, and yeah, it's really fast. Depending on the size of the model, you can go like 15 tokens per second on 4B models. Not bad at all. Then there is a MLC chat. This is actually a picture from MLC chat. It's very user-friendly and easy to use, so not bad. Then there is a small chat or chat UI and Alama with Termux. So Termux is a way to run Linux on your phone, and then you can run Alama, but it will not be optimized for NPU, so it will be slow, maybe 10 times slower than MNN chat. And so Google Media LLM Inference API, Cactus, it's Cactus Compute, optimized developer framework, Cactus Chat, Cactus optimized specifically for mobile CPU and NPU, similar to MNN Chat from Alibaba, similar to this one. Okay, device performance varies significantly based on hardware. Using quantized models reduces memory. Techniques like GPTQ compression enable larger models to run on mobile hardware. And the key bottlenecks is input-output operations per second. Okay, next. Cline CLI, run multiple tasks. So Cline is my favorite coding assistants, which I use with Visual Studio Code. There are many other assistants. Cline was started more than a year ago as assistant to work with Claude. Then they expanded it to many other models, many other vendors, and it's completely open source. It has about 2.5 million downloads. It's very secure, it's very proven, it's constantly developing. And one of the last thing they did, they kind of split this software into two pieces: the core, which does all the logic communicating with the models, and the front end. So the front end was for Visual Studio Code, and then they created front end for JetBrains, like for example for PyCharm, or you can use it with CLI in the terminal, right? So, and this gives you a lot of flexibility. So, for example, you can open multiple terminals, and in each one you can create different CLI a session working with the model. So you can use them as different agents, and you can run them in parallel, and you can create quite complex systems using Cline. One of the reasons why I like Cline is because regardless of the model you're using, whether it's Anthropic or Gemini or something else, Cline itself has a very good prompt. Very like you have an experienced and friendly colleague, teammate who works with you and understands you and knows the right thing. As far as coding, it's absolutely amazing. So if you decide to run multiple agents using client CLI, then there are questions: how to set multiple agents, should the agent have a separate endpoint, how to communicate between them, how to orchestrate, and so on. When you're working with multiple agents, a good idea to start using what's called tools use. So many models, including, for example, Gemini and Claude, like they have a tool use API. That means that you ask it to do something. So, for example, you ask it to run some sort of a report, and you have what? I'm sorry. Can you please mute? Okay, and you provide several functions, and model tells that, okay, you need to run this function with these parameters, right? This is function calling. It's very convenient. In fact, what model returns, it's not just JSON. They usually return some sort of object which contains JSON, which defines the function and the parameters. So you can use that. And you can make interaction communication. It may be MCP based, streamable, and many other. So making multi-agent systems is not simple. You have like many options. Another thing, preventing loops in multi-agent systems. Well, if you're using a system which was already well developed, like for example, LangChain, LangGraph, or CrewAI, or Microsoft systems, they already have systems to prevent infinite loops. My first experience a couple of years ago working, it was CrewAI, and was terrible because it was getting into those loops all the time and couldn't get out. But now the systems have become much better, and here are some methods they use to avoid those loops and to fail gracefully, and to notify the human that it needs to be intervention from a human, and so on. Next, orchestration frameworks. So I mentioned LangGraph and CrewAI, and of course Microsoft Agent framework, which used to be what's called CodeGen. Don't remember. Anyway, so they provide built-in infinite loop prevention, coordination capabilities, and so on. There are a lot of links, so maybe if you want to build production-ready multi-agent system, it's better to use existing orchestration framework. So here there is about LangGraph, about CrewAI, and about Microsoft Agent Framework. Okay, next, deploying agents. So here are several variations. You can do it on Google Cloud, so Google Gemini, and it has frameworks, the kits, and so on. You have for enterprise, you have like different situations. OpenAI, same thing. You have agents SDK, agent kit, Swarm, which is lightweight experimental. Claude, again, Claude, by the way, is winning enterprise game. He's ahead of OpenAI. So Claude Agent SDK, Agent Skills, which I described, and Claude Developer Platform, right? And then we have Amazon, And Amazon recently introduced the Strands agents, so it's an open source agent SDK, and they also have something called Bedrock Agent Core to deploy things in production and at scale. So these are your options. Okay, Google Veo 3.1. So this is update to the visual model, which brings audio, multi-image control, start-finish frame control, and so on. So improved model. Nvidia, they now produce Blackwell chips wafers, so their silicon, they produce it in Phoenix, here in US, using TSMC. So yeah, this is interesting. So production is moving from Taiwan to US. Nvidia released a new RTX Pro 5000 Blackwell with 72 gigabytes of GPU memory. So before they had 48, our RTX series. So they had like RTX 3090, then 4090, then 5000 series. So the latest one using Blackwell, and 72 gigabyte, which is very good. It's very powerful, and I don't know how much they. It's probably about 10,000. Okay, ChatGPT, $10,000. ChatGPT with automatic memory management for Plus and Pro. Okay, just leave it at that. So it's a new feature. Okay, Google Build. That's what I said is a huge competition to Lovable and other vibe coding platform. So what it is, it's AI Studio. So it's a Google. So you go to ai.google and then /build. And there you can build and deploy applications directly right there, similar how you can do it in Lovable. Maybe it's not as polished and as convenient and as like friendly for new non-technical users, but it's working. And there, using the latest model, Gemini 2.5 Pro, allows users to create, deploy applications directly in the browser, one-click deployment to Cloud Run, instant publishing, GitHub integration, version control, pre-built gallery of applications, templates. I'm feeling lucky button to generate random application, integration with Google Cloud, and so on. And they're planning to add a database setup, file storage, authentication. So it will end up a tool for people who are not technical to create a full-blown application on Google Cloud by just using text prompts. So yeah, this is a huge competition to Lovable and other platforms. Well, Lovable, because they were around for some time, they have a better user experience, ease of use, better initial designs, and so on. But I think Google, in a very short period of time, will overcome that. Okay, Unitree humanoid robot, they actually start selling those robots, so you can buy them. And Google quantum computing breakthrough. So Google Willow quantum chip achieved the first ever verifiable quantum advantage. They published paper in Nature. So they ran certain algorithm which was 13,000 times faster than the world's fastest supercomputer for the same task. And the application is for drug discovery and material sciences for molecules, basically. Tencent Hunyuan World 1.1. So this is update to the open source model, which creates worlds, like virtual worlds, video to 3D, multi-view to 3D world creation. DeepSeek. Okay, this is a very interesting paper. So it's an archive and you can read it, but the idea is this. Suppose you have a large language model, it's working with text, and as the context become longer and longer, it takes more and more and more memory. So what these people have done, they said, let's convert text into image. And by doing this, we will compress it. And we compress it 10 times. So we will use 10 times less memory as we're working with the model while maintaining 97% accuracy. For me, it's mind-boggling how converting to image can actually achieve compression, but they do this. So they have two pieces. They have encoder, which is text to image. And they have decoder, which is only 3 billion parameter, which is a small one. And because of that, it's doesn't take a lot of memory and it's fast. So helps with memory constraints on long context. Now the training of the whole thing, a single A100 GPU, which is old and slow GPU, can generate 200,000 pages of training data per day, making model training significantly cheaper and faster, lower processing cost. So Deepseek did it again. Remember Deepseek when they first trained their model and everybody was amazed at how cheap the training was. So now another revolution. But this is not like production quality yet. This is just a paper, but interesting. Andrej Karpathy interview, that's what I was recommending you. It's amazing interview. I cannot go through the whole thing, but here are two links. The first is the whole interview, which is more than 2 hours. And the second is a very short piece of this interview where he talks about reinforcement learning, animals versus LLMs, and so on. Extremely useful. I sent it to my WhatsApp list. Please listen. Well, it's a great interview. Okay, this I actually have 2 pages describing this interview. Next, Google VISTA video agent. Remember a couple of weeks ago we spoke about a small model which is less than billion parameters. It was like less than, I think, 100 million parameters, which was solving puzzles on par with huge models by using iterative approach. So going over and over and over and over multiple times and eventually coming up with a good solution. So here something similar but applied to video. So video iterative self-improvement agent. And so you see VISTA. Okay, so 4-stage process: planning, tournament selection, multi-agent critique, deep thinking prompting, and then go again. So this is the diagram. By default, it runs 5 iterations and achieves very good results. Next, yes, and thank you very much for recommending this. So this is work from IBM, and it's called Kuga, Computer Using a Generalist Agent. So this is the paper, and this is on GitHub. They open sourced it. So again, they're using iterative development with smart sampling, and the idea is to create and perfect operations in business and comprehensive evaluation tooling. And they start with small number of tasks, and then they test on more and more and more tasks. So at the end, you see like more than 800 tasks. Evolutionary architecture refinement. So as they go and as they improve the system and as they add tasks, so this is for business, right? They build a lot of systems to plan the multiple agents, provide feedbacks, figure out why things are failing. And so the system by itself kind of cues itself and becomes better. So it's an iterative approach, and it gets much better with time. And it uses the same like Claude agent, like inject contextual information based on task assessment, right? So if you have this assignment, you use this skill. Real-time metrics tracking. So this is great work. So this is coming from IBM. Next, energy for AI. It's a very good paper by Peter Diamandis. I love him. And what he explains is that a country which will have energy for AI will win the race, and currently China is winning. And India is also doing very well. And America, unfortunately, is not doing as well as other countries. Next, ChatGPT is losing to Anthropic, Deepseek, and other players. So I didn't know these facts. So ChatGPT market share in beginning of 24, it was 76%, and now it is only about 60%. So it was losing about 1.5% monthly, consistently losing. OpenAI growth is at about 9%, while DeepSeek is more than 8,000%, jumping from like 500,000 users to millions by December last year. Anthropic now dominates the enterprise market with 32% share, while OpenAI dropped to 25%. It used to be 50%, but now it's dropping, and Anthropic is winning. Claude gets 42% coding workloads compared to OpenAI 21. This is literally 2-to-1 ratio, so Claude is leading. Anthropic generates 211 per user, while OpenAI only 25 per user. This is 8-time difference, so Claude is much more profitable. OpenAI generated 4.3 billion in revenue during the first half of 25, but they lost 2.5 billion, burning so annualized 5 billion while maintaining negative unit economics. So, and now we also have open source models and so on. So OpenAI is in a strange situation right now, and there are, of course, open platforms like Lovable, Cursor, and so on. Only 10% of enterprise have actual production AI deployments. AI coding tool remain the only category showing consistent value, and that's where Claude is winning, right? With developers achieving 10-20% productivity gains. Specialized domain-specific AI solutions are crushing general-purpose chatbots, and companies applying traditional software engineering principles. Version control testing deployment pipelines are winning over those chasing AI hype. Okay, next, 4 alternatives to JSON. Okay, this is just I wanted to know for myself because, well, everybody knows JSON, but there are some other things you can consider, like, for example, protocol buffers, right? Flat buffers, message pack, and the CBOR, which is concise binary object representation. And you see this interesting table from this Medium article. So you see if you're using, for example, proto buffers, you can achieve 6 times speed up. And if you're using flat buffers, 7 times speed up. So you can use JSON to send messages between pieces of your system. Or you can use this. Well, of course, when you're sending something to AI models, you have no choice. But if you're building your own system, then you have a choice, and then you consider some other options. Okay, next, terminals on macOS. Well, this is inspired by my son, who is using Ghosty. And I'm on Mac and I'm using iTerm 2, and I believe it's the best. It's mature, it's very flexible. I love it. Ghosty is faster, and I think it also works on Linux, right? Now, one thing I'm using, it's something like this. You see, it's an Apple script, which you can run to open terminal in your window. So you're in the Finder and you want to open terminal in this window. So I made myself the script. It's actually coming from this GitHub repository. And then I have a button which I can press, and terminal will open in this directory. Okay, next, colleges in trouble. So again, it's article from Peter Diamandis. And what's he explaining that, well, colleges are not updating their curriculum as fast as needed, and people now prefer to hire somebody who has experience of doing something rather than college degree. And you see there are some numbers. Americans calling college very important, crashed from 75% to 35%. Tuition is up almost 900%, and so people take loans, a lot of debt. College graduates now make up to 1/3 of the long-term unemployed, which is up from only 1/5 a decade ago. Job postings require degrees dropped 6% in the last 6 years, and so on. So the question is, why to pay huge amount of money for something which doesn't benefit you? I mean, if you go to MIT or Harvard or some very top companies, they still value it, but generally a college degree has almost no value nowadays. And yes, next is about jobs. So these are jobs updates. Okay, OpenAI has proposed a retraining program targeting 10 million Americans. G1 paradox: when the cost of doing the work goes down, the demand for it goes up, so which causes more spending on this. So some people claim that there will be more jobs for people who are using AI. Well, maybe difficult to predict, really, really difficult. Anyway, October, not a lot of layoffs, as you can see. So this is me as usual, and thank you.